All right, let's go, you guys. Let's do a class. Whoosh. If you're watching on record, I currently do not know what we're going to cover. I'll decide as we go through. All right, the class. We're going to warm up first, and then we'll pick something to study a little more in detail today, I reckon. Heels. Knees out. Hard jump. Jump. Switch. Up and down. Good. Arms. Backwards. Twist left and right. Circle. Side to side. All right, let's knee ups if you can. I know someone said they were injured. Can you do these? Thumbs up if you're okay with this. Take it easy.
I can do it one leg.
All right, we're not going to do much of this anyway. Okay, we'll just warm up. Don't do it with the injured leg, all right? Okay, guys, front kicks. Good, okay, good. Arms. Legs a little wider. Stretch over. Stretch the other way. Sumo stance. Push it out. Push your knees out. Great. Guys, slowly drop to your right. Okay, squat kind of on one leg, straight the other. And feel the stretch here. Go lower if you want. Push this knee out. Switch slowly over. Lifting the heel of this foot up. Okay, so you're squatting. Push this knee, leg straight, drop low. Feel the stretch, toes back. Good, back into sumo stance, push it out. Drop your hips forwards, back straighter. All right, guys, now be careful with that sumo stance. It's often too narrow. Okay, so you want at least 2 shoulder widths. Okay, for your feet. Good, okay, bring your feet and legs in on your knees. Go forward, hands on the floor, stretch your back. Sit back. Okay. Good. Okay, guys. Shake loose. Shoulders. Okay, guys. I'm going to talk about 3 things I've decided today, because this is something that many people may do wrongly or not as good as they should. All right. And that is, first of all, we're going to talk about stance and front stance. Then we're going to talk about the combination 1, 2, and how that shows the width differences of the stances. And finally, we're going to show you how to utilize your hips more for power. All right. So let's talk about stance, front stance. So you guys, feet together. Now, if you're watching record, this is really important. Let's talk about some of the common mistakes people do in front stance. Yoi. So let's say we say left leg forward, gadamba, right? Okay, now let's just step and punch, each. Okay, now the common mistake is when people step and punch, they step and they carry on sort of in the same direction. Okay, so if you look at my leg, so let's say we're on proper shoulder width. Let's say if we were in a big hole, they step and they carry on stepping and they're always too narrow. So when you do this step now, left leg in front, I want everyone in, on this call and on the recording to assume the stance shoulder width. Okay, so start like this. Okay, feet about shoulder width. Okay, step forward with your left leg. And it's still there, the shoulder width. Okay, if you look at the back foot. Okay, now the back foot also must be flat, not lifted. Okay, so can you all assume this stance on the spot like me? And if you look at the back foot, it's flat. It's not up and it's not like this. Be careful, especially when you start stepping forward. Okay, in the stance, people do this and collapse this leg. It's got to be straight and the foot must point half forward, not totally forward. That's, most people find that impossible. Okay, some people can do that, but the back foot should be as forward as they possibly can. Basically, it's around, it could vary from 30 degrees to 45 degrees, but not this. Wrong. Okay. So the other mistake people do is if you look at the back foot, it's pointing the wrong way. And you can't really push off that foot. Okay. So this is the important thing. So I want you to do a few of these steps in and out. So when you step in, pay attention to that, you guys. So if you're on this recording, try a few of those. Step through and then out again. Okay, this is how you activate the stance. You step through the middle. If you imagine these are the feet and back out. Okay, so everyone work on that for me with a step and punch. Okay, try that. Each, when you've done 2 or 3 steps, go back to the start, redo it. Knee. Okay, now continuously do that, but create more speed and power. Okay, so as you go through it, step faster, step faster. Some of you might have slippery floors, all right? Be careful if you do. All right? So, watch, step through and out, okay? Through and out. Left leg in front, step through and out. Through and out. Okay, right leg in front. Now, what I've seen on the grading, I've only watched a couple of videos. Now, what people are doing is their legs are doing this, and there's no real attention on stance. So if you're watching this and you've graded, your stance must be solid. This is a solid base. You must create a solid base, not this, okay? So many people, they don't correctly assume the stance and they've got this kind of stuff going, okay? Total, what's the word I was going to say? Total uncontrollable, basically, okay? There's not much control there. You need to be in control. Okay, so whatever basic, let's try it with downward block or anything else. Rising block, punch, downward block. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Not 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's an over exaggeration. People do that. The other common mistake, too short the stance. Okay, too straight the front leg. Too straight. Must be bent. Long stance. Okay, so that's a few things to remember. Back foot flat and not heel up. Okay, shoulder width. When we're pushing fast in this stance, and if this is correct, this foot, back foot, you then got more grip to the floor to push you forward, you guys, okay? Because you need that. All right? Do you get that, guys? Everyone, let's have a look at your stances, stepping forward. Let's see it. Okay, so you on the call, let's practice that. Okay, so we're going to move on to a combination which we do for green belts and blue belts, okay? And that's to emphasize this shoulder width. So what is that? Okay, let me just start with the right leg. So if we were in front stance, step forward, Shuto Uke, back stance, in line, foot across, reverse spear hand, okay? So that's what it is. Now, this is the common problem, okay? So let me just start in a shorter front stance so I can fit it in and you can see my feet. Common problem, Shuto, Nukite, and they don't move this foot at all or enough. And then you're too narrow. This should have moved more this way, okay? So, green belts and blue belts combination, but this is really everyone who needs to pay attention to the differences in when you're stepping forward in back stance, it's in line, okay? So if I stayed there, it would be in line. If I stayed there, it would be in line, okay? In line. Now I've just shown you that in front stance, you're not in line. You're coming off and out again. In and out, okay? That's what you're doing. Try that, please, everyone. Try everything that I'm showing you. So everything that I do, you do. Otherwise, you're just going to sit there watching. Okay, so try this. 1, 2. 1, 2. Now try this. Okay, it doesn't have to be fast. 1. Stay in line 2. Okay, staying in line. Coming through, coming through, coming through. Back stance, stays in line. Okay. Step through. See how I move? Okay. So if you're lower grade and you just do stepping forward back stance, that's how you step forward, guys. Okay? In back stance. So it's in line. Now, notice the feet in back stance. The foot forward, front foot, the foot is forward. The back foot is 90 degrees. Okay, so if I go sideways, that's the feet view. Now, that's the difference between that, everyone try this, and then front stance, shoulder width, back foot turns forward. Okay, now watch, do this as well. Back foot 90 degrees, more weight here, line it up. That's the difference. Try that a few times. Okay, now try it with both legs. I'm going to change sides. Okay, okay, foot 90 degrees, front stance, foot forward, deep stance, back stance, front stance. Can you see how the length of the stances are similar? Okay, you might find some people do back stance a bit shorter and lower. Okay, ideally same length. All right. Do you understand that, guys? Please ask if you want. Okay, so now when we do this one, this combination, 1 foot across to shoulder width, 2. Okay, now I'm not going to teach you how you do the hands because that's a different subject. I'm talking about the legs. Okay, so spear to ear is what I say with this. So spear starts, back stance in line, front stance offline, hand to the ear. Okay, spear to ear, back stance in line, front stance not in line. Yeah? 1, 2. Everyone, do you understand that? Show me that, please, everyone on this recording. You guys on record, try that a few times. So we've just had a couple of common mistakes done on the call, okay? And that is when people step, students step, they're not totally in line for Shuto. So when they move this foot, they're too wide. And then when they step, they're not in line. And then even more wide the next time. Okay, so you've got to make sure in back stance, your feet are in line. Foot offline, just a little, and not too wide. That's another common mistake. Okay, going too wide. It's only the shoulder width of your body. Okay, second common mistake, okay, is, lost my train of thought. Okay, is, I'll have to come back to that, but that's the main point. Okay, students don't get in line enough, or they go too wide. Okay, so those are the real 2 common mistakes when you do this combination. All right, remember your shoulders this much, but some people do this much. And now I just remembered what I was going to say. Let me explain the line of the back stance. Okay, so if your feet were going to come together this way, okay, so let's back stance in line. This is what I mean by in line. So this heel is around just by the bony bit of the ankle. So if you look at this here, imagine the foot in front in line with that bony bit. Okay? So when you bring it back, it's in line with that bony bit. That's what we mean. Okay? So you could, some people might think in line with the foot, then you're off. You're off if you're in line with the toes. Okay? So it's more in line with the back of this foot. Back of this foot. Okay, you guys? That's what you're looking to be. That's your line. All right? That's what I was going to say and I forgot. Right. So guys, now we're going to talk about hip power, okay? And how you can generate more power with your hip. Okay, so let's take the same combination we just did. Okay, and that's this one. Back stance, foot across, hip power, right? And this is where you turn that hip like a closed door. Imagine your body like a door. So when you step forward, Shuto is open. When you step across, you got this distance of the hip to close the door, square. Don't go over. It should be square, all right? So let me show you here. So open, close, square. If I go over, you can see in that video, I've gone over. Keep it square. Okay, so what you want to do now is generate more power from your hip. One step, and at the end, generate the power and the breath out. Okay, and the hip turn. And as you do the hip turn, execute Nukite. So if I did that again, 1, foot across, 2, hip power. So you want that pivot, okay? 1, 2. Now, this is where you build the power up, you guys, okay? And it could be with any technique. Okay, it could be, let's say we do down block, reverse punch, square hip, down block, open hips, 45, square. So you just need to get used to whipping those hips closed and open, okay? 1, 2. Now, if I did rising block, I whip them open. If I do reverse punch, I whip them closed on the spot. Everyone on the call, do this 10 times. Left leg in front, right leg back, shoulder width. Okay, now I want you to do this, okay? Open to 45-degree angle, not too far back, please. Just about 45. Now close, square. Open, close. Open, close. Now when you do that, try and keep this still. Open, close. And try that a few times. Open, close. Try it with techniques if you want. Block open, close, reverse punch. Open, bring it back, close, reverse punch. All right? Now, put your right leg in front and do 10 of each, 10 of these. Okay? Open, close, stay low, and keep it as still as possible, this and this. Don't do this, okay? Moving the back foot, no, it's just the hip. Close, open, close, open, close. Try it with blocks. Open, close, open, close, open, close, open, close. And just practice that, guys. It takes time. It takes years to get it right. You're not going to feel it. Now, when you start feeling that, I remember the day I started feeling the power of my technique. And it didn't come till I was well into my brown belt. Okay, probably nearly black belt, I felt it. It could have even been when I was black belt. You won't feel it. On one day, this powerful hip power, breath out, all comes at the same time, and bam, you find Kime and the power, okay? So you can also practice that on Mr. Man here, okay? Mr. Derek. If you've got a kick back, stand in front of him. Front stance, open, okay? Close. Keep your wrist tight. Open, close. Open, close. Now, if you do that, make sure you keep this strong, okay? And you will see the difference in power, but be very careful with doing that, okay? You've got to make sure this is strong here, right through when you punch something, okay? And you're punching with these two knuckles here, okay? Not these. So you try that exercise 10, 20, 30, 100 times on one side, 100 times on the other. The Japanese, when they started passing on karate to people, we heard stories that they used to do 200 punches a day in their garden, some maybe 500. And they would just punch what they call a makiwara post, basically a plank of wood right through the ground, sticking out with some rope around it. They hit the rope till their hands were bleeding, okay? And this was continuous, and that's where they, bam, and they practice the power of the hip and the power of the kime and the breath out. Guys, you can punch all day, you can punch for years without hitting something, and you'll never really know what it's like to actually punch anything. So you must, as higher grades watching this, must start punching something to feel what it's like to strengthen the wrist, okay? Because that's a different story. We learn the technique without touching anything, and then
If you just go and punch something hard or even kick when you've never done it before hard, you could break your hand, break your fingers, break your toes. So it's all got to be carefully done. But just start with getting yourself a punch bag or a kick bag to do that. All right, guys? Any questions?